You walk through the sliding doors. A blast of cool air, bright lights, clean floors, a display of something you didn't come here to buy. You think you're anonymous? Just another shopper. One face in a crowd of hundreds. You are not anonymous. Before you reach the second aisle, the store already knew you walked in. It knew roughly how long you'd stay. It had a guess at your age, your income bracket, and whether you'd been here before. It didn't ask you a single question. It didn't need to. You brought the answer in your pocket. This is off-grid. Let's start with the thing you're holding right now, or the thing sitting in your bag. Your phone. When its Wi-Fi is switched on, it does something most people never think about. It talks. Constantly. Even when it's not connected to anything. To find networks, your phone sends out little signals called probe requests. Over and over. Hey, is my home network here? Hey, is that coffee shop I visited here? Each one of those signals carries an identifier, and for years, that identifier was fixed to your specific device, a number as unique as a fingerprint. Stores figured this out fast. Install a few small sensors in the ceiling. Nothing dramatic. A box the size of a smoke detector. Those sensors don't connect to your phone. They just listen. They catch every probe request in the building, and suddenly the store has a map, not of products, of people. They can see how many phones entered, how long each one lingered by the discount rack, which ones walked straight to the back and left, which ones came back 3 times this month. You never opened an app. You never joined their network. You just carried a device that won't stop talking. Picture the screen in the back office. Not security footage. A dashboard. Little dots drifting across a floor plan of the store. Each dot a person who thinks they're alone with their thoughts. A manager watches the dots pool near the entrance and thin out toward the corners. He doesn't know your name. He doesn't need it. He knows something more useful. He knows how you behave. Here's where it gets colder. A single visit is a data point. But that same identifier showing up again next Tuesday, and the Tuesday after that, becomes a pattern. The store learns your rhythm. It knows you're a regular before any human employee would recognize your face. It knows the aisle you always slow down in. It can measure whether that new display near the entrance actually makes people stop, or whether they walk right past it. You became a line on a graph without ever agreeing to it. Now phone makers eventually pushed back. Modern phones scramble that Wi-Fi identifier. They rotate it, fake it, shuffle it around, specifically to break this kind of tracking. And that helped. It genuinely did. But the tracking didn't stop. It adapted. Because Wi-Fi was never the only signal in the room. Think about Bluetooth. That little radio you leave on for your headphones, your watch, your car. It's chatty too. And stores started planting small transmitters called beacons throughout the building. Near the entrance, by the pharmacy, at the checkout. These beacons don't grab data out of thin air the way the ceiling sensors do. They work with something you already agreed to, the store's own app. Remember when the friendly cashier asked if you downloaded the app? Great deals, they said. Exclusive coupons. And a lot of people did. Why not? Free savings. That app is the key that unlocks everything. Once it's on your phone, and once you've granted it location and Bluetooth permissions, buried in a screen you tap through in 2 seconds, it can hear those beacons. Each beacon has a location, so the app doesn't just know you're in the store. It knows you're standing in front of the cereal. It knows you walked from cosmetics to electronics and paused for 90 seconds by the televisions. And because you logged into that app, this is no longer an anonymous phone on a graph. This is you. Your name, your email, your purchase history, tied to a real-time map of your feet moving through the building. The coupon that pops up for the exact product you're standing next to. That's not luck. That's the beacon and the app, working together, in the moment. And it works in reverse too. If you pick something up, put it down and walk away, that's recorded. If you stand in front of a shelf for a long time and buy nothing, that hesitation becomes data. The store learns not just what you buy, but what you almost bought, what tempted you and lost. That's the kind of detail a salesperson could never track across thousands of people at once. The beacon does it silently, all day, for everyone. Let's go deeper. Because your phone is only part of the story. Look up. Cameras have been in stores for decades. Loss prevention, catching shoplifters. Nobody questions that. But a camera used to be just a pair of eyes recording to a tape. Nobody watched unless something went wrong. That's over. Modern retail cameras don't just record, they analyze. Software watches the live feed and pulls information out of it automatically. It can count how many people are in the store at any second. It can flag when a line gets too long. It can build a heat map of where crowds gather and where they never go. And increasingly, it can estimate the age and the gender of the person walking underneath it in real time to tailor what it shows you and what it records about you. Some systems go further. They measure attention. Where are your eyes pointed? Did you look at the promotional sign? For how long? Did your expression change when the price came into view? A machine quietly grading your face while you decide between two brands of toothpaste. It doesn't care who you are in that moment. It cares whether the display is working. You've been turned into a test subject in an experiment you didn't sign up for, running every second the doors are open. And the results feed back into where things get placed, how bright the sign is, what catches the eye. The store is being tuned. You are the instrument it's tuned against. And then there's the one that crosses a line most people don't even know exists. Facial recognition. Not just estimating your age, identifying you, matching the geometry of your face against a stored list. Some retailers have used it to spot people they've banned, others to flag so-called known shoplifters. The problem is those lists are built by the store, checked by no one outside it, and wrong often enough to ruin an innocent person's day. You can be flagged, followed, and asked to leave, all because a piece of software decided your face resembled someone else's. You never see the list. You can't appeal it. You often don't even know it exists. Let's connect the pieces, because separately they're unsettling, and together they're something else entirely. The camera sees a person enter. The Wi-Fi and Bluetooth sensors log a device entering at the same second. The app, if you have it, confirms an identity. The payment system at checkout records what that identity bought. Stitch those layers together, and the store doesn't have a shopper. It has a profile. A person who visits every Thursday evening, spends about 40 minutes, always circles the frozen section, uses a specific card, and responds to discounts on exactly 3 categories. That profile has value, real money. And it rarely stays inside the store. There's an entire industry built on buying, blending, and selling this kind of behaviour. Your in-store movements can be matched with data from other companies, from your online browsing, from other shops you've never connected to this one. The picture of you gets sharper with every source added. A brand of shampoo here, a late-night visit there, a route through the city that only makes sense if you work nearby. None of it feels sensitive on its own. Assembled, it's a portrait detailed enough to guess things you never told anyone, and you were never the customer in that transaction. You were the product being sold, wrapped in the language of loyalty and rewards. Here's the part that should stay with you. Almost none of this required your clear, informed permission. There was no moment where someone looked you in the eye and said, "We're going to track your movements, estimate your income, scan your face, and sell the result." The consent, if it existed at all, was hidden in a privacy policy longer than a novel, or in an app permission you tapped past on your way to a coupon. Silence was treated as a yes. Walking through the door was treated as agreement. Existing in the space was all the permission they decided they needed. So what can you actually do? Not to disappear. That's not realistic. But to be harder to read. Turn off Wi-Fi and Bluetooth before you walk in. A phone that isn't broadcasting is a phone the ceiling can't hear. Airplane mode does it in one tap. Be ruthless about store apps. If you install one, dig into its permissions afterward and revoke location and Bluetooth access when you're not using it. Better yet, ask whether the discount is really worth handing over a live map of your body. Pay with cash sometimes. Cash breaks the link between your movements and your identity in a way nothing else does. And understand that facial recognition is the one layer you can't switch off from your pocket. The only real pressure there is public. Laws, questions, refusing to accept it as normal. The store will always tell you this is about convenience. Better service. Deals you'll love, and sometimes that's even partly true. But convenience and surveillance have started wearing the same coat. And the moment you stop noticing, the difference is the moment you stop having a choice. You walked in thinking you were anonymous. Now you know better. Stay off grid.